Hey guys, it's Luca from Learning MTG, and today I want to make a video talking about financial freedom. I hope to make a series about this. Basically, this is kind of like what I wish someone had showed to me in, say, high school or middle school. It's like, yeah, just kind of a step-by-step playbook to becoming financially independent. So in the first video, in this video, I'm going to talk about, what does it mean to be financially independent, and I'll talk about some of the things that are getting in your way before you even get started. So first things first, we are talking about financial independence. This is kind of the goal. So I think really a lot of people approach money and wealth in kind of the wrong way, where they're very focused on income, right? I want to make 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, $500,000 a year, whatever. Really, what it comes down to is not so much how much you make, but like how much you make versus how much you spend, right? So if you're making 100 grand a year, but you're spending 110 grand a year, you're actually really poor. You're poorer than someone who's making 50 grand a year and spending 40 grand a year, right? So that's kind of the basic idea. Financial independence really means that you are basically having so much money coming in relative to what you're spending that you just can't. Money is coming in so often relative to it going out that you just don't have to worry about money anymore, right? So it's basically being at a point in life where money is not running the show. You're not making all your decisions based on money. You don't have to work extra hours to make sure you can pay your rent, or you don't have to work a job you don't like to make sure you can afford to eat, etc., etc. So really financial independence is, you know, having money coming in, a lot of money coming in, where you're just not worried. And so, like, one of the kind of classic ways, and there are a few other ways, but let's say it costs you 30K a year to live, right? That's your living expenses. One way to get financial independence is if you had 300K in savings and you're in investments, and you were making 10% a year on your investments, right? So now you're making 30K a year from your investments, and that goes to pay for your living expenses. So you're basically, you're all set. As long as your living expenses don't increase, you're totally good. You can not work, you can choose to work, etc., etc. So that's one way. Let's think about another potential way. Let's say it costs you 40K a year to live. And let's say you have 200K in the bank and you're getting 10% interest. Okay, so half your living expenses are taken care of from your interest. What if you have a job you really love? It doesn't pay much, but you really love it. Doesn't feel like work, and it makes 20K per year. Okay, this is another way to be financially independent. So it's a mix of money coming in from your investments and money coming in from a job that feels effortless. So that's really the way that I define financial independence, a little bit differently than most. Is, to me, whether you're getting money kind of passively from your investments or whether you're getting money from a job that you really love, I see those both as kind of like passive income, right? So this is the idea, and it's even better if you're not completely breaking even, right? It's even better if, you know, let's say you have 300K in the bank, you're getting 30K a year from you're getting 30K a year from investments, 20K a year, and now your net, you're plus 10K a year, right? And then your savings keep going up and it kind of snowballs out of control. You really want to get to the point where it's snowballing out of control, right? This is kind of the magic of compound interest or exponential growth. It just grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And maybe I'll talk about one of the key concepts of exponential growth, right? So in math, we think about functions which are basically like y equals a to the x. And maybe this is not, for some people may not make any sense for those who don't like math, but just stick with me, right? So if you have something that's increasing at 1% every year, that's like 1.01 to the x. If you raise x to a really high power, this is going to infinity. Another way to think of it is, if you get 1% better every day, how much better will you be in a year? Right? That's 1.01 to the 365. So you will be 38 times better at the end of the year. So in other words, if you had, let's say you had like $100 in your bank account and you got 1% on that every day, by the end of the year, you'd have $3,800. So any tiny bit above 1, any little increment really blows up over time. And similarly, if you had a bank account that was losing 1% every day, right, 0.99 to the x, how much will you have at the end of the year? You will have only 3%. So that $100 will turn into $3, right? So it's really a tiny difference, right? It's not much of a difference in one day, whether you're gaining 1% or losing 1%. But over time, it really balloons out of control. And so you want your life to be in a place where you are steadily gaining a percentage of your wealth and not steadily losing a percentage. A lot of people, most people, are in the boat where they're losing 1% every day. You can make a few tiny changes, get yourself to where you're increasing a tiny percent, and your wealth will just grow, right? Okay, so we kind of know what the goal is, where we're headed, what it means to be financially independent. So now I'm going to talk about what are some of the kind of blocks. I'll call them mental blocks. First of all, like anything in life, you need to believe that it's possible. Some people don't believe that it's possible. So if you don't think it's possible to be wealthy, you'll just block yourself off from any opportunities to get there. There are plenty of stories of people who made very little money, but they saved, and through saving some tiny percentage of their income, they became very, very wealthy over time, became millionaires despite making, $10 an hour. In fact, there's a statistic that 1/3 of all millionaires in the United States never made more than 6 figures. So how is that possible, right? That means that they were good at saving. So you have to believe it's possible. And if you have trouble believing it's possible, maybe you have to learn about many other people, see a lot of examples of people who've made it happen, despite not having the resources that you may think it takes. So you got to believe it's possible, and you have to think that money is good, right? There's a lot of people that deep down believe that money is evil, and believe that, kind of a subsidiary belief is that the only way to get lots of money is to screw other people over, right? They have this belief that there's a fixed amount. They think, the economy is like this pie, and if I have more of the pie, that means someone else has less of the pie. This is not how economics works. Absolutely not. You need to throw this out. It's complete trash. For example, think of the wealth that we have today in our society. It's orders of magnitude greater than it was, say, 300 years ago. Where did that money come from, right? It kind of came from thin air. The way that economies and civilizations grow is basically the economy learns how to do things more and more efficiently. The pie grows bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Anytime you make a trade with someone else, you sell them a service or a good, you're both benefiting, right? Because you're both agreeing to the transaction, right? So let's say I'm tutoring someone, they're paying me some money for the tutoring. That tutoring that I'm giving them is worth more than the money that they're paying me. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to do it. And similarly, the money that I'm getting is worth more to me than the time I spent tutoring. So we're both gaining. So the pie is getting bigger every time anyone makes a transaction that's not, forcefully made or anything. So you need to understand that money is not a bad thing. In fact, people who make lots of money are making other people lots of money simultaneously. Of course, there are exceptions. There are people who are, doing things in kind of sketchy ways. It's possible to get money through stealing, but in general, the way you make money in a free economy is by helping other people and by helping them get wealthier as you get wealthier. So that's a big thing. You want to understand that wealth is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. In fact, as you get wealthier, other people around you also get wealthier. You want to believe it's possible. You want to believe. You don't want to have any beliefs like, "Well, I'm poor. My family's always been poor." Blah blah blah. Throw that out. Throw it out. What are some other beliefs? I've heard some things like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's not the case. Plenty of poor people become rich. Plenty of rich people become poor. So that's it for the first video. I just wanted to talk about, what is the goal? What does it mean to be financially independent? And what are some of the beliefs that you may be holding that prevent you from even starting on this path to become financially independent? Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.